Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Thank you for joining for another session for Marketo trainings. This is session 7, and today we are going to cover program tags, program period cost, reports, segmentation, and snippets. So without further ado, I think we should start. So let's take a look on program tags. So let's first understand what are program tags and what are the benefits and how to utilize these tags to get most out of your Marketo instance, right? So Marketo tags, there are multiple types programs. There are multiple types of program tags that we can use, and the use case to utilize the program tags in Marketo, it varies based on the type of program that we are creating. Programs in Marketo can be tied to specific marketing objective, targeting specific market or region or product or team. So at times you might want to tag the specific specific program according to these different subjects, right, or specific topics, right? So what the benefit that you will get out of that is maybe at the end of the quarter or maybe at the end of the year, you might want to take a look back and see how many programs we run for a specific marketing objective or a specific team in our marketing organization, what kind of programs they run, what was their performance, how many leads we generated, how many closed won opportunities are there, total ROI, right? You might be interested in that, right? So to get that kind of reporting and to be able to filter your program performance reports based on these different tags, you have to use program tags there. So you can create multiple tags. In admin section, I will show you how to do that. But at the same time, you can use those specific tags that you are creating to filter out the reporting of your specific programs. Okay. So example of tags, as I mentioned here, it could be program owner, it could be region, it could be objective, right? So now I will show you in Marketo how these program tags looks like. But before that, I also want to cover program channels, because program channels are a type of program tags actually, right? So the specific thing about channel is it defines what medium you are using to target your audience, right, or to promote your brand. So in a B2B environment, usually you use multi-channel targeting, right? You use social media, you use your website, you use blog, you use third-party systems to help promote your brand. Right? So you might be using these different types of programs, medium or channels, I would say, to promote your brand, right? So at the end of the year, again, you might want to see and look back what kind of program we run and which channel or medium is actually performing well and poor for you, right? So it will help you to understand the overall ROI and where you should invest in coming year, right? Where you should invest more or where you should stop investing at all, right? So it kind of this program channels, these provide you that kind of reporting and that level of details where you can make those decisions. So there can be, like, for example, the program channels, as I mentioned, could be webinar, trade show, email send, social media, website, web form, content syndication, right? These can be different channels, or maybe SMS or WhatsApp that you are using. That could be another channel, right? So you can create these specific channels, and within those channels, you can define the different statuses. So for any campaign that you plan, right, there has to be a specific journey for the user that they have to go through, right? So for example, if we take example of webinar, since you are very familiar with that, and you are currently going through that process. So for channel webinar, the status could be like, first we have to invite someone to join to register for that webinar, right? So first we have to invite, then they will register. Once they register, they will attend after they receive confirmation email and all that stuff. So they will attend or not attend the webinar, right? So there could be attended or not attended status. And then those who missed to attend that webinar live, they might be interested to join that on demand, right? So this is kind of a journey for the users for that particular webinar type campaign, right? Similarly, for roadshow, it could be invited, registered, attended, no show. For email send kind of campaign, the journey could be send, open, click, unsubscribe, bounce, engaged, right? So what we are doing is basically we are defining these different stages, and then we are defining the success of the program, right? So for webinar, the success is when someone either attend or attend on demand, right? For email send, success could be if they click on a specific link or a specific CTA that you are promoting, or they are somehow engaged, or like they clicked on a specific link and they submitted a form on your website, right? So we may mark them as engaged there. So with channels, you define the mediums that you will be using to target your broader audience, and within the channels, you define statuses. Within those statuses, you define success. Okay, which is the objective of your program that you are setting up. So the specific about channel is that you get these kind of additional functionality to add these statuses. For other tags that you add, like for example, like program owner or just objective, you just get that tag there, right? You can't further bifurcate that or attach any specific kind of journey. But with program channels, you can do that. Okay, so let's dive into Marketo and see how this looks like actually there. So give me a second. Let me log into Marketo very quickly. Okay, I'm almost there. Okay, moment. I hope you can see my Marketo screen now. Okay, so for tags, you have to go to admin. And then go to tags. Within tags now, you see options here, right? The first one is channel. So channel tag is by default. Okay, so you see this channel tag by default created, and for any new Marketo instance, you will see some channels already created there. Definitely, you can go ahead and add more channels. There is no restriction to that, and you can even hide or delete the existing channels that come by default from Marketo side. Okay, so for, let's say, if I take an example, so you see there are multiple channels like chat, content, email blast, email nurture, email send, the newsletter, there is trade show, there is webinar, there is web content, there is trade operational, right? So there are multiple types of channels that we have defined here. So all these channels define your marketing strategy, like what all medium you are using to promote your brand, right? So for example, if I go to email send channel, right, you see there are only member and influencer at the moment. If I go to email nurture, you see we have excluded, send, open, engaged, filled out form, and then we define success on that, right? Remember, I was saying like we have channels, then within the channels we have statuses, and then we have success defined there. Similarly, if I go to the webinar channel, there are different types of statuses: invited, waitlisted, registered, no show, attended, attended on demand. And we have marked attended and attended on demand as success for that, right? So you might be seeing this step as well here. So the purpose of a step is to define a numeric scoring kind of thing for statuses. So with the help of these scoring, what happens is if someone is going uh, uh, towards the success of a program, right? Let's say if someone is already registered with these statuses, you can't really roll back that person to invited status, right? Because they have already moved ahead into that journey. You can't really update that status back to invited, right? There are some workaround to do that in Marketo, but by default, these steps define like which from where they can go back or go ahead, right? So for example, if we see waitlisted and registered, we have 2020 defined as this step there. That means anyone within the registered can go to waitlist, or waitlist people can come to the registered. But if someone has already attended, it doesn't make sense to update their status back to either registered or invited, right? Since they have already attended, so it should be attended. So these steps define the kind of those steps in the journey where they are into that specific program journey or campaign journey, right? They can't go back. They can go ahead into the journey, but can't go back, right? So that that happens based on these step number that we define here. Okay, so if you want to add more tags, like this is by default, but these content and data sources, these two are our custom tags, right? So similarly, if you want, you can go to new tag and create new tag type. So in this new tag type, let's say we want to add theme, and here values, in values maybe we can say field marketing, we can say product performance marketing, or we can say marketing operations kind of stuff, right? So we can add multiple values here, or we can say channel marketing or partner marketing, for example, right? So you can add multiple values. Now here you have to select program types, right? So these channels you can define either based on a specific program type. You can select only one, or you can select multiple here, right? So whatever you define here, this particular tag will be only available to email type, engagement type, and event type programs only. It will not be available for default type program. So if you want to define that kind of tags specific to program type, you can do that. So for example, for email, right, the specific tag could be the audience type. What kind of audience you are targeting there, right? For webinar, it could be the topic, right? Topic category for that particular webinar, right? So you can define those different types of tag based on either a specific campaign that you are running, or maybe you can define common tag for all the programs that you have, program types, right? So here, like theme, we can create it for all program types, right? And you can just simply say create. But here there is one catch. There is checkbox for required. So if you check this checkbox, it will be mandatory to select team tag type when you are creating a new program. So if I go ahead and just create this and go back to marketing activities to create a new program, so if I go to my folder within the Marketo training, let's say I'm creating a new program here. Right. So you see this one, theme is coming up here, right? And the options that I defined there, like FM, field marketing, marketing operations, product marketing, partner marketing kind of stuff is there, right? So you have to select that. It is mandatory. If you don't select it, right, and try to create it, it will not go ahead. You have to first select at least one team type there. So either you can make it mandatory or you can leave that optional. It's up to you based on if you really want users like Marketo users to force to select these specific type of tags that you are creating, then you have to mark the mandatory, right? If you see here, we have data source and content, but these two tags are not mandatory, right? These are not required. That's why you don't see that here. But if I go ahead and create it, and just in case if you want to add that tag, what you have to do is you have to go to setup tab of your program, and then from tag section you will see that, right? A data source, you can select that data source as partnership, for example, right? From here you can add that tag manually if it is optional, but if it is mandatory, you are required to select that tag during the program creation itself. Okay. Now, how to use these tags to create reports, right? So if I so we will walk you through when we talk about the reporting. I will cover this tags there. Okay. So I think it's clear what are the channels, what are the tags, what are the difference between channels and tags, and what are the main purpose and value addition of these different channels and tags that we can create. Okay. Uh, yeah, and just to call it out, if you have any questions, please feel free to post that in Q&A section. You must be having that option to add your questions in the Q&A. I will try to cover that at the end of the uh, session today. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation. So we have covered program tags and program channels. Next is for us to understand is period cost and how it's calculated. So period cost, what's that? So for any campaign that you are running, there must be some budget defined for that, right? By budget, I mean to say the spend that you are doing for that particular campaign. Especially for social media campaigns, you have to have some budget, right? You have to do those beats and or if you are running some ads, or let's say on Google Ads, for example, and you want to capture those data in Marketo. So if you are creating a program for that particular ad that you are running on Google Ads, you have to capture all the details there, right? And for end-to-end reporting, like to calculate that ROI, like how much you spent on that particular ad, how many leads you got from there, how many opportunities got created, what is the opportunity pipeline, what is the opportunity total revenue out of that, right? And based on that, you can calculate your final ROI. Like, okay, I spent like $10,000 on this particular ad, and I'm getting let's say 10,000 leads, right? So it helps you to calculate like what is the per lead cost there, right? And then similarly at the end, maybe you just got 5 opportunities out of it. So per opportunity cost, you can do that, as well as if the opportunity amount, let's say from those 5 opportunities, $50,000, right? So what happens is you spend $10,000 and you are getting $50,000, right? So based on that, you can also calculate your ROI, return on investment, right? So to capture that spend and to calculate that ROI, Marketo provides you a place to add those costing. So in Marketo, that's called period cost. So it doesn't have to be really the exact amount. It can be estimated, and you can add it the period cost anytime. You can come back and add that. The benefit of having period cost is to enable that ROI kind of reporting for yourself, right? So if you have period cost, you will be able to calculate all these things. Otherwise, if you have zero period cost or no period cost defined, zero could work. But if you don't have any period cost defined at all, then you might not be able to get that kind of reporting from Marketo. Okay. So Another thing is you can add multiple period costs to your program. So maybe you are running a ad, let's say in January, you spend, let's say, $10,000 there. Then you didn't really add anything else in Feb or March, but in April you added $5,000 dollars more to that particular campaign, right? So you can add multiple, or maybe you want to add higher amount for some specific months, maybe due to there are certain events happening, or maybe certain things happening on your side, or maybe some product announcement are happening and you want to promote that, maybe to just promote that particular ad better, you might want to add more spend to that particular campaign, right? So you can add multiple period cost on multiple months, and based on that you can also calculate the overall ROI. Okay. Now what happens is there are ways like how Marketo calculates the period cost, and how you can get that lead cost per lead kind of a stuff, right? So with a single period cost attributed to March, let's say you started running some program in January through May, right? And you started getting some contacts in January, then February. In March, you added that 6,000 as a period cost for that particular program. In April, you also got some new contacts. In May, you also got some new contacts. But for January, February, April, and May, there is no period cost added to that particular program, but it is there for March, right? So what happens is everything, if you have single period cost added to that program, all these new contacts will be counted towards March, right? This like this, right? So let's say here you have 10, here you have 20, here 15, 10, and 5, right? So 10, 20, 30. 45, 55, and 60, right? So you have total 60 contacts. Let's just assume, right? So 60 contact, and you spend 60,000, right? Now you will be able to calculate that cost per lead from there, right? Net new contact per cost per net new contact from there, right? So that's how Marketo actually calculates that. In case if you have, let's say, multiple period costs defined throughout January, February, and March, but in April and May you don't have anything, so what happens is all the contacts, they roll backwards, right? So in this case, for April and May contacts will be calculated towards March, because last spend that you did was in March, right? So if there are net new contacts got created in April and May, it makes sense to attribute those contacts towards the March spend, and then calculate your cost per net new contracts from there, right? So if you are adding multiple period cost, and let's say you have 100 contacts there, right? But 6,000 dollars you spent there, but it can't be just simple as like 6,000 divided by 100. You can't do that, right? What you have to do is you have to go through this calculation, right? You have to first, let's say here we have 10, so 10 will be divided 2,000 divided by 10 plus so to calculate that cost per lead, you have to get the average, right? So you have to calculate that per month, and then take the average from there. So Marketo also do that calculation based on this logic. Okay. So if you are wondering, it's not like just flat. It's not like 6,000 divided by 100. It's not like that. Okay. Similarly, if you have a scenario where you have defined a period cost for January, for February and March there is nothing, then you have in April, for May there is nothing. So again, the same logic, it will roll back, because if we spent some amount in January and we got some net new contacts in February and March, it makes sense that this spent help us getting that those number of contacts, right? So again, for Feb and March, it will be calculated towards January, and for May, it will be calculated towards April. Okay. So this is how the period cost work, and this is how Marketo calculates that. Let's see how actually you can add period cost on a program. So I'm in Marketo activities, marketing activities, and on my program that we just created. To add that period cost, I have to go to the setup tab. Within the setup, you will see this period cost option here on the right hand side, right? So I can simply drag and drop this here, and here you will be asked to select the month of the program, right? So you can go back and add that, let's say in March, if you want to. We can select March 2023, and we can add period cost. Here by the default currency is USD. So let's say we did 3,000 there, right? If you want to add some notes here, you can do that and click save. Similarly, if you want to add more, you can click on period cost again, drag and drop again. And let's say this time we want to add it, the period cost in May. This time it just, $1,000. We can do that. So as many period costs as you want, you can add those. Let's say this time 5,000. Right? So what happens is when you are going to create that program performance report, you will be able to calculate the cost per lead there, right? In this particular program, we don't have any member, so I might not be able to show you the exact number there, but I will show you like the different columns that we will see in a report, right? So yeah, that's about period cost. So the next one, let's see, what's the next one? So we have covered program tags, we have covered program channel, we have covered period cost. Let's go to the reporting itself now. Okay. So for the reporting, you might want to go to analytics section, or if you want to create program specific report, you can right click on the program and then select new local asset. From there, you can select report, and now you will see different types of reports available for you to be created, right? So before we do that, let's go back to the analytics. In the first session, I think I explained a little bit about these different types of reports that are available here. But let's very quickly, do a quick revision here. So we have email performance available. Email performance report is basically for email performance analysis. So here you might want to see how many records you targeted, the number of sent, how many people actually received that email, how many opened that email, how many clicked that email, how many emails got bounced, hard bounce versus soft bounce. You can get that data, and as well as how many people unsubscribed from your email, right? So through email performance report, you get all that kind of data or analysis done. Through people performance report, if you want to report on people, like maybe from a specific channel or source, lead source, how many records are there in last month, or what is my month over month growth of database, or you might want to see how many people or a specific state available in Marketo. You can use people performance report for that. Web activity, as the name implies, it's for web activities. So basically, it provides you details around how many people are actually visiting your website, who they are, how many pages, and what kind of pages they are visiting, right? So it has some limitation. You can't really get that kind of information, like how much time they spent on that particular page, right? You can't get that information, but you can get like entry point, exit point, who they are, in which country they are, all the info data based on IP address, you can get that data in Web Activity Report, right? It provides you, different reports for known people versus unknown people who are anonymous to you and just visiting your website. They haven't provided any information about themselves or by filling out a form, I would say. So that's there. Opportunity influence analyzer, again, if there are any opportunity and you want to prove the marketing contribution to that particular opportunity influence analyzer will provide you all the touch points that happen through marketing side for that particular opportunity. Program analyzer, again, for program reporting. Success path, if you have what we call it, revenue cycle modeler implemented, you might want to see that success path analyzer report. Revenue Explorer, this is a add-on. So I would consider this as a reporting engine for Marketo. So similar, if you are familiar with Salesforce reporting, it's kind of similar to that. You can slice and dice the data as you want. You have that flexibility to add more columns, more rows, or slice and dice based on your requirement. But here there are limited options for report customization. But in Revenue Explorer, you get more options. So I'm not going to cover that Revenue Explorer because it's a kind of advanced reporting today, but I'm going to cover a few basic reporting that you need on day-to-day basis. Then we have email insights. It provides more in-depth analysis of emails. Maybe you want to see like email performance on day-by-day basis, like week of the day base, or maybe the time of the day, or maybe the email devices, or what kind of email client they are using, how many emails are getting opened on Outlook versus Gmail, kind of stuff. So this provides you that level of granular details about emails. Then we have engagement stream performance. In our last session, we talked about that when we created engagement programs. So it provides you that performance of that particular stream. Program performance, this is something that we have to cover as part of that period cost and channel and tags. So I will show you how you can create a program performance report and use all these things to get better reporting from Marketo. Email link performance, it's for your email links. So if you have multiple links in your email and you want to see like how many people are clicking on first link versus second link or things like that, you can get that report here. And then there are other like company web activities or landing page performance reports. So these are also here. So without any further ado, let's take a look on email performance report first. So what you can do is in the setup, and if you are Aspire and you want to do Marketer certification, please make sure you know in and out about all these reporting. What options do you have available in setup versus smart list versus in report? Or what customization you can do there, right? There might be questions around that. So be very careful when you are going to create these reports, and if you are going to attempt a Marketo certification, especially the Marketo expert certification, which is available, right? Which is the expert level exam. So yeah, in the startup tab here, you have multiple options. You can customize the send date. So by double clicking, you can select the send date. So if you want to report on all the emails that you sent out this month versus last 30 days, or maybe last 12 months, last year, you can create that, select based on that. So let's say last 90 days, for example. So you have option for global reporting versus local reporting. So global reporting means all the emails, including everything that you have in Design Studio versus marketing activities, as well as your archives, right? So this is for that. And then export raw available. If you by default it's 5,000 rows in that report. But if you think you have run more than 5,000 in last 90 days, you can select up to 25,000 rows. Oh, sorry, 30,000 rows to be extracted from Marketo. So by default it's 5,000. I will keep that for now. And then you have other options here. So group by segmentation, I will cover that segmentation today. So we'll talk about that, how to use segmentation to create these reports. Or maybe let's just cover that since it's here, right? So segmentation, let's talk about that. So for segmentations, you have to go to database section. Here you see this segmentations folder, and within segmentation folder you see all these different things. These are your segmentations that you can create. So how to create a segmentation, what is the purpose of creating segmentation, right? So segmentation is kind of similar to smart list in a sense, but the difference between segmentation and smart list is that segmentations are pre-calculated on for all the records, versus smart list, when you run a smart list, it runs on in real time and provide you a list of all the users who are qualifying for that particular criteria, right? But segmentations, these are pre-calculated. That means Marketo is not going to run that in real time, but as soon as if there are any changes in the data point, or if there is a new record getting created in Marketo, so based on the criteria that we have defined in these different segments, it will automatically update that segmentation for you. Okay, so in that sense, segmentations are faster than smart list. Now, why we have two things like smart list as well as segmentation? So the purpose of segmentation is to provide ability to have dynamic content in your emails and landing pages. So if you remember, during our when I was explaining about email and we were walking through email editor, I explained that if we have segmentations, we can create dynamic content within the email. So if let's say here we have multiple geography, right? Asia, Europe, South America, and USA. And if you want to change the language or maybe the address of something or some event that is happening, right? You may want to customize that based on their location, right? So segmentation provide you that that functionality to create that dynamic content within the email. So that's one advantage. Another is, with the help of segmentation, you can slice and dice your email performance report as well. So if you want to group by the email performance report, not just by the email name, but by specific attributes, let's say by geography, if you want to see as a holistic performance of South America versus Asia versus Europe, so you may want to create a email performance report and group it by geographical segmentation there. If you want to do that by industry, you can use that group that report by industry there, right? So this provides you that kind of flexibility there. Now if I go and just show you, right? So for example, this one, so we call this customer group, if you see this, we call this as segmentation, and within this segmentation we have these segments. Okay, so this customer group is segmentation and these are our segments. So you can have up to 20 segmentations in Marketo, and within a segmentation you can have up to 100 segments. Okay, so there are limitations to it. Unlike smart list, you can't create unlimited segmentations in Marketo. So when you are working with segmentation, be very mindful and utilize that these 20 segments for your best use cases. Okay, so similar to smart list, you define different criteria here, right? So if I go, let's say, to industry, for example, right? So for education, if I see here, we have industry like education, we have defined that criteria. Then we have manufacturing, then we have technology, right? Now there could be scenario where one person might be falling into multiple industries. So for that, what you can do is you can define the order. So for that, what you have to do is you have to create a draft first, and within the draft version, you say go here and is that edit segments. Yeah, here, right? You can add more segments, or you can move up and down these different segments here, right? So by that, it means if someone is qualifying, let's say for technology and education, for example, right? So what will happen is they will only qualify for segment technology, not for education. So within a segmentation, these different segments are mutually exclusive, whereas smart lists are not mutually exclusive until and unless you make them. But by default, they are not. But these segments within a segmentation, these are mutually exclusive, right? What I'm saying is, let's say if you compare geographical versus industry, they are not mutually exclusive, right? Because they are different segmentations. But within a segmentation, these different segments are mutually exclusive. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So here, if I go back to that email performance report, you can drag and drop, let's say this group by segmentation, and select industry, for example, and say apply. Okay, once you do that and go to your report, you see all people are in default industry. That's why you are seeing that. Otherwise, if I go ahead and just remove this segmentation from here and go back to the report, you will see email names there, which is email asset name, right? So you are seeing that benefit of this segmentation here in reporting it specifically. Okay. Now, if I go back to the reporting section, and let's say program performance now. If I go to that, the difference that you see here between this one and that email performance report is that in program performance report, you do not have any option for smart list. That means you can't really filter out, people uh, to report on program, right? Because it's program performance report. It's basically for programs. So there is no, people level filtering available here, right? So you have to you have to know these kind of things to crack your Marketo exam. Sometimes, you might see these kind of questions as well there. So in the setup tab, if I go here, there are different options, right? Unlike group by segmentation, we see tags here, right? So if I want to just limit the program performance report, if let's say I do not have any filter available at the moment, if I just simply go to the report tab, it will show me the program performance report of all the programs in Marketo instance, right? So here I'm seeing all the programs, what are the channels, how many members are there, how many net new names got created versus the percentage of that, the success rate, total cost per member, cost per new member, cost per new success. I'm able to see all that here, right? I just remove that. And then if I go back and add channel as a filter, so what if you just want to see the performance of your all webinar type programs, right? If I go there and just select that and go back to the report, here you will see only program type channel, like webinar type programs here, right? And at the same time, you have one more option available, which is show program status column. So if you have only single channel selected, then only you will be able to add those program status columns as well. That means excuse me, If I go back to the report, I will have additional columns available for those different statuses, like invited, registered, attended, not attended, waitlisted, right? These were not available there. If I go back here and say I want to report for webinar as well as, let's say, nurture, right? If I do that and if I keep that selected, it should show me an error, right? Select one channel to see the program status column, right? So if you want to report on program performance report and wants to include your program statuses as well, make sure you are just including one channel there. Okay, so this is how you can use that channel tag to create that performance report and filter out that. Similarly, if you want, based on content, you can filter do that as well and say show me only those programs where content tag is content, right? And if I go back to that report, I will see that filtered report here. So there is no program at all. That's why I'm not seeing any, right? So if similarly, if I go for team and if I select, let's say, multiple, I can select multiple as well there, and I will say apply. I will see all that information here. So again, we don't have any program where webinar type, especially program where we have team select added as one of the tag. Okay. So these are the benefit of channels and tags. Similarly, like period cost, if you want to add that, maybe you want to see all the programs that have a period cost between January 23rd, 2023 to June 23, right? If you want to just see all the programs that you have spent something on in last 6 months, you can add that period cost time frame as well and report on based on that as well, right? So there are multiple options. Okay, so this is how you create program performance report and use these period cost channels and all these stuff there. Okay, so we have covered program tags, reports, segmentation. Now it's time to cover the snippets, right? I just want to be mindful about the time, so we have some time left. That's good. So let's see snippets. So what are snippets? In general, if you see, the meaning of a snippet is a a small chord of something, right? Or a small paragraph in terms of content, right? So a snippet is that in general term. For Marketo, it's kind of similar, right? You define something at a central place, and then you can reuse that as in when needed basis, right? So by that, what I mean is, if we go to Design Studio, we see this option is snippets, right? So let's suppose you are a B2B company and you have offices in multiple countries, right? You have offices in India, in US, in Europe, and let's say in Australia as well, right? You have different offices, and definitely there are different addresses, office addresses, and different contact information for those different offices, right? So whenever you are sending out emails, let's say to Indian people versus Australian people, right, or versus someone in United States, you may want to include the local office information instead of just your maybe head offices. If your head office is in US, you do not just want to include that, right? You may want people to know that, hey, we have our offices in your country and your region as well, and it might be easy for you to collaborate or reach out to them there, right? So you may want to include that. So since you are running multiple campaigns in Marketo, setting up multiple emails, it's really difficult to keep a track on everything and add that information every time, right? So instead of doing that thing, maybe you can add, create multiple footers within the snippet. Let's say, yeah. So let's say you have one footer created for, let me see if I can get some examples here. Yeah. So for example, like as simple as that, right? So you have your New York office, you have one for that is that. If you have one, let's say in India, Delhi, you can create another for that. And what you can do is you can either simply go to your email for, let me open up the email as well and show you how this is helpful. So let me go ahead and just approve this snippet first. So once you create that snippet, you have to approve it. This is the snippet editor, just to give you a very quick reference to it, right? You have this Wysiwyg editor. That means you can add rich content here. You can, if you want, you can add links here. You can, bold it, italic, or add underline to it, right? Or you can add multiple lines. You can increase the font size. Everything that you can do in normal Wysiwyg editor, you can do all those things here, right? So once you are done with all those things and you are good with your snippet, what you can do is, let's say you are creating a new email, right? Let me go back to marketing activities and show you there. So we created some emails for our sessions. Let's say in the webinar one, right? If I go here, create draft, by creating draft, that means I'm editing that email, right? So if I go to the create draft, I can select, let's say this, section here, and click on this gear icon. No, not like that actually. This one. So if I go to this particular, module here and click on it, I get this option, right? Replace with the snippet or make it dynamic, right? So I can simply go ahead and do it, replace it by geo. If I know all the people who are receiving this email are in US, so I'm sending out the email, with US office address, right? If I'm targeting only Indian people, then I can add my Indian, snippet here, right? So this is the benefit. You can just define that piece of content only one time and then keep reusing that again and again. And you can also enforce standardization. Another thing is, in future, if you have to make any changes, let's say you are changing your office address, you are in, let's say in building A, now moving to building B, maybe your team size has grown, something like that, right? And if you want to do that, you have to just go to a single place, edit that snippet, update that content there, and approve it. Once you approve it, you get that option to update that in all the emails or landing pages where you have been using that snippet. So that's the real benefit of using it, right? So you are managing that piece of content at a single place, reusing that and updating it, from that central location into all the assets that are using that particular snippet. Okay. The other benefit that you can do is, if you want, if you have, let's say segments here, right? So we see this language preference here. So let's say, yeah. So let's say we have one for one segmentation created already for these different countries, and if you want, you can create it dynamic based on those different countries as well. So you don't really have to create multiple based on the user's location or the data that is already there. It will automatically update that data, that content within this snippet. So you can also create dynamic snippets. So if I go to the Japanese, for example, right? So if I go there, I can see that Tokyo office is there. If I go to the Spanish, it's Madrid office. If I go to the Italian, Rome, Chinese, it's New York, for example, here is busy, and default is definitely New York, right? So this way you can define different snippet text or content, and then use this dynamic snippet in your email, so you don't really have to worry about changing that again and again based on location as well, right? So you can create these dynamic content as well. We are just 5 minutes left. Let me see if we have any questions here. I don't see any, but I would encourage everyone to post any questions if you have any. So yeah, that's about it. So in today's session, we wanted to cover period cost, program tags, channels, snippets, and the reporting part of it, right? Since we have a few more minutes left, let me see if I can cover a couple of more reports here. So if I go back to the analytics section, okay. So we just got one question from Manjula. So can you please share the last week's recordings? Definitely, you are going to get those recording. I think when you receive this invite for this session, you should have all the recording links available there at the end of the email. But after this session ends, probably sometime next week, you will receive another email with the recording of this one, as well as with the recording link of all the previous sessions that happened. Okay. Another question that we have is, do snippets only works for footers? No, not just footer. That was just an example. You can use a snippet anywhere within the body. So for example, if I go back to this here, right? Let's say we have this particular thing here, right? So I can simply go and replace it with this snippet as well. Okay. Another question that we have is around, we need more detailed session on integration and data model. Is it possible? Definitely, the purpose of this training module and this whole session was to provide basic training, at least for the people who are not familiar with Marketo, or who are looking forward to to have career in Marketo, or they are just a student, or things like that. So the purpose was to provide basic training for all those people, but definitely there will be advanced webinars. So what I will be doing is I will be having webinars going forward instead of these sessions. So in those webinars, I will be covering specific topics. For example, this integration and data model. Definitely I will cover that. So everyone who has registered for these trainings, they will receive those invites in future as well. Yeah. Any other question? What type of customers are planning to purchase Marketo? So Marketo is basically for B2B companies, and it's basically meant for enterprise. But I do see many SMB level company or mid-sized level companies also use Marketo because they see value in it. But it's majorly it's a enterprise level marketing automation platform that really empowers the enterprise level companies, these big companies, and help them doing and automating all their marketing efforts. What are the focus area for certification apart from reports? That's a very good question. So we do have a complete list of all those detailed topics there. So when you depends on what level of certification you are going to do, there are a list of specific topics. So if I simply go and search for Marketo certification, let me quickly show you guys. So if I go to professional, for example, here, right? So minimum experience, you see all that here, right? Get ready. So here, campaign, get prepared, right? So within this get prepared tab, you have all these, different topics, and they have added all the links to their product docs as well. And here you see some sample questions as well for that particular, certification. So you can always go there and find a detailed, list of all the topics covering within that particular exam. Can it be possible to provide more sessions on admin part? I would love to. I have to just identify like this particular sandbox is available from Marketo, like Adobe side itself. So I will request them if I can get full admin access and do that, report, separate session for that. Is there a function in the email reporting where Apple users' privacy can be removed to accurately report out of test results like opens? That's a very good question. Okay. So I think there have been some efforts from Marketo on that side. So to really filter out bot clicks and everything, they added some functionality. I don't have that option available here in the admin section, but yes, there are some options available for that. We are over time, but I would love to, you may save all these questions for next session. In the next session, we are just going to cover Q&As. So you can, list out all the questions that you have and come and join me next Friday, and I will be more than happy to cover all the questions that you have in 1 hour session. Okay, so that particular session is just to clarify all the questions that you have. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice day ahead or evening based on your location, and also a lovely weekend ahead. Thank you. Bye.